Hey guys, welcome to the Tech Point Africa podcasts. My name is Muiwa.
My name is Oluwanifemi.
I'm Emmanuel.
And I'm Chimgosrim.
So, I think the most exciting news this week, I don't know about other people, but Elon Musk acquiring a very 9%,
9.2%
stake in Twitter.
Yep.
And apparently he has a boat seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's now a guy.
Yes, I think he's getting what he wants.
It's good to have money.
Yeah, very good.
For one, yes. Being the richest man in the world is something, should be a perk. And it seems like he wants something done, and I think
I'm still wondering how he got it, because it's not just about having the money, being able to
be on the board.
Yeah, even buy a stake in the company. He must have done some silent underground things.
He's the highest individual stakeholder in Twitter.
In Twitter.
Many are big companies, so it's literally competing.
So is he going to make some changes or what?
Yes, he wants to make change about free speech and democracy and everything. I don't know.
I wonder how easy it's going to be to do that.
One of the things he first tweeted was, who wants an edit button?
That's never happened.
The possibility
the day Twitter gets an edit button, that's the day it loses its appeal. Yeah.
Because you can't edit your tweet at night, and then what you said yesterday is no longer what you said.
Yeah, especially when you were ratioed.
Yeah.
When people ratio you, you just change what you said.
The least you can do is delete it, and you bet people have taken screenshots of it.
Yeah, so but someone was recommending that there could be a way they could when you edit the tweet, it will show that it has been edited. And you can see the
that's how
previous version.
Like Facebook.
I don't know if you guys remember when Facebook, because Facebook didn't used to have the edit option.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't remember the exact year, but I've been on Facebook long enough.
Maybe around 2017, 2016.
No, I think it's earlier than that.
Earlier.
I think it's earlier. So they added that option, like where you can see the edit history.
Yes. You see what was changed.
But then who has time for that on Twitter? Twitter is
Ben.
Let's drag this person. Let's get on it. Where is the next violence?
Exactly. Speaking of violence and dragging, I mean, Flutterwave was dragged this week.
Yep.
A former employee, Clara, she's not Nigerian, I don't think she is.
No,
she's Kenyan.
She's Kenyan.
Yeah, accused GB, CEO of Flutterwave,
Of
bullying, not paying dues.
Yeah, she called it dues.
Dues, and negligence, sued them for negligence,
And emotional damage.
Because she was apparently involved in some fraud case, because her number
was on
the whole details behind it still looks sketchy. It's not clear.
Yeah, so she mentioned pay bill, that her number was on a pay bill account that was used to. Apparently, there's an article on a Kenyan website called Nairobi in News, where it details how she sued the company. This was from last 2020. So she sued the company. Apparently, someone organized a sex party with the company's. I was first confused when they said someone was organized a sex party with the company's account or something, and then a number was on that account as a contact person, but she was no longer with the company, and then she was involved in the fraud case. But I'm still wondering, like, why is Flutterwave organizing sex parties? Like, it makes no sense to me. Flutterwave is a payment processor, right?
So is it that nobody else could have used Flutterwave's account for that except an insider person?
I'm trying. Okay, so first of all, it's a pay bill. It's a Safaricom pay bill account, apparently.
Yeah.
And the pay bill account is just simply. It's more like
It's like a merchant platform.
A merchant platform.
You call it Lipa and M-Pesa.
Yeah.
So stores, very, very small stores even have it. You just see the number there. Once you finish buying what you want to buy, you pay. So the question is why
does Flutterwave have a pay bill account?
So I guess mobile money works differently to standard payments that we do here in Nigeria, for instance. And M-Pesa is like the chief payments, the payments king in Kenya. So maybe Flutterwave needed to tap into that infrastructure, but it's still not clear. Maybe they just needed that to get a foothold in the country At that time.
That was 2018, right?
Yes.
So maybe because they wanted to expand it to Kenya, and they just needed a Kenyan individual, and she happened to be in their employ, or maybe that's what she was even employed for, because I think she was head of what's it called? What's her role again?
Head of implementation. Rest of Africa.
Yeah, rest of Africa. So they used her contact details as the contact person. Because I was looking at the form for the KYC form for pay bill for limited liability companies. You need a Kenyan director, and a few other things, which I feel, ID, passport, and all of that. But even with individual accounts and the rental business and sole proprietorship, you need a Kenyan contact. So maybe they used her details. And according to her in the article, the Medium article, she said when she left the company,
she asked that her contacts be removed.
Yeah, but they refused to remove it because they had not yet found someone to replace her. And that's why she was involved in the whole thing.
But that Medium article, when she sent them a mail, GB responded that they've actually removed it.
But they haven't.
No, he apologized for the oversight and said they would remove it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what she sued them for now is what is not clear. So because she said,
I think it was when her mom was first harassed. That was when she reached out.
Okay.
And they said they will remove it before she was now arrested.
Oh, she was arrested.
Eventually.
Okay. So in that case, suing them for that, I mean, she's the one who went through the ordeal.
Trauma.
So she, but then I'm hearing $900,000. So she didn't mention the amount in the Medium article, but according to another interview by the Big Tech, that's what it's called, I believe, a newsletter that interviewed very unrelated story, but it just happened to be released the same week. About how Flutterwave became a unicorn. He said one of the ex-employees, probably this is the article that triggered her.
Yes, she mentioned it like that they have gone to tell her story in a different light, and she's coming out to tell people what the right thing is, and she's open to speak.
Exactly.
But in a very interesting change of events, she said she can't speak because I can't really
speak for the ecosystem
because of the ecosystem that she will not speak.
She put the
ecosystem in air quotes, like.
So the ecosystem called her. Who is this ecosystem that called her?
I'm wondering, like,
who is this this representative of the ecosystem?
What
then leaves us wondering how big of a deal this is.
The sentence feels very loaded. Like, who is the ecosystem?
Exactly. Why did they have to call her personally and tell her to stop talking? I mean, she already took them to court. She has her lawyers, and she said she's willing to. She said she was willing to speak. But now she's saying she's not allowed. Did you say she said she's not allowed?
Let me read the statement verbatim.
Right.
Wanjiku told TechCrunch, "I am no longer allowed to speak on this for the ecosystem."
Quote and unquote, the ecosystem. For the ecosystem.
That's a very loaded.
It is. So
this is.
So my guess would be, would it be a guess or what? It's like if she speaks and this turns out to be like a huge scandal on the brand Flutterwave or on the brand GB, right? How much effects would it have on the Nigerian tech ecosystem?
So maybe that's why she was told not to talk. So are you saying that maybe someone called her on behalf of the ecosystem and begged her not to destroy the ecosystem?
Exactly. That was my thought.
This still nascent ecosystem.
There's something that's very funny in that statement. She didn't just say I can no longer speak. She said I am no longer allowed to speak on this. So
if your lawyer advised you not to speak, you'll be able to say it's a lawyer that told you not to speak. But this is not sounding like your lawyer advised you not to speak.
He said ecosystem.
So who is stopping you? Who is not allowing you to speak for the ecosystem? So this might not be very popular, but it just looks like she's tired of the whole circus and she just wants it to end. So she's like, okay, fine, let's end
get
it
this over with.
Yeah, but according to her, and even GB corroborated this in the interview, she has appealed. So because apparently she sued for 900,000. It's not clear what she sued for initially, because according to her, she was supposed to be paid some expenses. but she was later paid, I guess, after involving lawyers. But then it seems that this 900,000 she sued them for was for the emotional
damage.
And then a court, we don't know whether it's in Kenya or in Nigeria. It's most likely in Kenya. Okay. Right? We tried to search for court records, but we found nothing. Anyway, awarded her $2,500 in damage. So what did the judge think? Why did he think $2,500 was what she was due, not 900,000 that she sued for?
So yeah, but to be clear, the suing was that phone number that was left in that M-Pesa account.
Yes.
And the circumstances around it, according to her, detectives came to meet her mom, started questioning her mom. Her mom was scared that the phone number or the account or whatever has been used in a fraud incident. Then she now gave some kind of context that if it was used to fund a terrorism attack, she would have disappeared.
Yeah.
Without notice. So I think it's that emotional trauma she was trying to gain sue for. So, but yeah, I don't know why the judge
is like,
it's too big.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't dismiss. I mean, she's the one that must have felt the. I can imagine having a mother call her,
harassed, and then she being arrested or someone
and all of that. Exactly. But at the same time, it's still confusing. Why is there a pay bill account which is for merchants, regular merchants to collect payments? Why does Flutterwave have one that it is still operating? So I'm assuming, okay, maybe when they got into Kenya in 2018 or whenever they expanded, that was just a way to get a foothold, why they figured out how to now institutionalize themselves in the Kenyan space. Why were they still operating such an account as a payment processor? And who organizes the sex party? Is it because obviously pay bill accounts, it belongs to Flutterwave. It's not like maybe Flutterwave has a license to now issue pay bill accounts. No, it's a pay bill account belonging to Flutterwave. So someone allegedly organized a sex party. Who organized the sex party?
A lot of questions here. We cannot let's just
and then defrauded people,
right?
Using Flutterwave's pay bill accounts. So I'm very careful about calling it an allegation because I don't know. Well, it's not an allegation, to be honest, because GB seems to confirm that there was such a case.
Yep.
Right, and he said an ex-employee who led one of our country expansions sued us for negligence and emotional trauma for not removing their name as the contact person in the country. Okay, that's a very general statement. So he didn't say specifically, but in a Medium article, she says it was a pay bill account.
Yeah.
That was used to organize
party.
A sex party that defrauded people. Like,
there are a lot of. I just hope going forward, right? People have been encouraged to speak out, right? In the spirit of horrible bosses, right? People are encouraged to speak out and all, but we just need details, right? Details to support whatever it is you went through, to be able to know who should be held accountable, right? This story has a lot of gaps, even though there are some correlations between GB's story, GB's response, Flutterwave's response, and Clara's allegations, right? So I just hoping that people get to say the whole story, right? They should speak their truth, as we said. They should say the whole story.
Yeah, I'm actually not surprised that Flutterwave is still running that account because I feel M-Pesa is inevitable in payments when it comes to Kenya.
Safaricom is like the king, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I think there's a transaction limit for M-Pesa most of the time. So maybe the payment processors are trying to come into that market to take advantage, but I don't think that's enough reason for any major payments company to take Kenya by the horn rather. So if you're coming into Kenya, you should actually understand that, okay, maybe we latch on to these guys first since they already have the infrastructure and keep on building because all it takes is for M-Pesa to just switch one feature and your entire market crumbles.
Exactly.
So yeah, but like you said, there are a lot of things to actually unpack here, and I'm still making some inquiries about how this pay bill works and why a payments processor actually needs pay bill accounts.
We need to get to the bottom of that. I have theories, but I would rather know something that I can't back. It's still confusing me. Why is Flutterwave why is a sex party, a fake sex party, being organized via Flutterwave's mobile money account? Like, it makes no sense. Chingozi wanted to say something.
Nah, it's still very surprising. Like, there are just too many holes in the story, so I've not connected the dots.
Yeah, although I'll be careful to highlight that Flutterwave does not confirm or address the sex party side of things. Just says, even in the statement to TechCrunch, it says we confirm that at the point of resignation, all monies due to our former employee at the time were promptly disbursed, and we have recourse to confirm this. We, however, sincerely regret the circumstances that led to the dispute and wish it had been addressed in a more timely manner. That's all they say.
Bad blood. Bad blood.
And then, here's an interesting part for the ecosystem theorists. This is the last sentence in the statement. Yeah. In no way did we take this lightly. We want the ecosystem to have a healthy and productive work culture, and we are committed to doing our parts. And
So
Clara says,
Let's not lie.
Clara says,
Flutterwave is a huge part of an ecosystem.
and the Clara says, I'm not allowed
to speak
for
the ecosystem.
Okay.
Is it for the ecosystem or because of the ecosystem?
For the ecosystem.
For the good of ecosystem, for the health.
So this is where people can start bashing us for not understanding English.
It's basically
for the ecosystem.
I am no longer allowed to speak on this for the ecosystem.
The ecosystem.
For the good of the ecosystem.
Exactly.
Or what?
Or she can't speak for the ecosystem. But she's not supposed to speak for the ecosystem.
She's speaking for herself.
So on behalf of the ecosystem, how?
It can't be on behalf. She's not speaking on behalf. What she suggested what she said she was going to volunteer for is to speak and choose to speak what is going on for herself. Yeah. So what I'm taking that context as is speaking. I will not be able to speak just for peace to reign in the ecosystem.
And the truth is,
then that's not well worded. Then,
she put it in quotes for the ecosystem.
She's not even part of what is the ecosystem because she's Kenyan, right? Is it the Nigerian or African?
It could be the African ecosystem, but the question now is if she speaks and this thing runs deeper than we are looking at it right now.
She has a startup she's running currently,
Yeah, she has a startup. Credreal, an API fintech API.
Yeah, so it looks more like what Mono and One Pipe
do, and
we can't remove Nigeria from the market.
Yeah, apparently Nigeria, she's Kenyan, but it's like in Nigeria, major market seems to be Nigerian.
Okay.
And of course, by the way, we forgot to say that she alleged that GB bad-mouthed her, right?
Yeah,
sabotaged the opportunity to get a job. And there are also, although she said she had no knowledge of this, but there are also sexual harassment claims, allegations, and whatnot.
This is a lot.
So there's so much.
Yeah, if it turns out that this is deeper than it is, then this statement will make a lot of sense because Flutterwave is now so big; they require a number of companies. They're unicorn. GB is on almost everybody's cap table.
Exactly.
So whoever the ecosystem is probably has GB on his cap table.
Oh Lord.
So the way you put it now, I am no longer allowed to speak on this.
We are becoming conspiracy theorists.
But I think that statement is telling.
For the ecosystem.
It's telling because maybe she's either someone has reached out to her or she's now evaluating her options. Okay, I just started a company recently.
Exactly. So I'm part of the ecosystem.
So she's picking her battles.
Exactly. I mean, if it's just a few dollars or a few hundreds or thousands of dollars that was not paid compared to the bigger picture of people, I don't know. So except the tech ecosystem is like secondary school where you couldn't speak or say something about a classmate or something like that in order not to be seen as a rat or something. So except that,
and there are cliques.
Yeah, except
so
that
be an outcast.
Yeah. So maybe she has potential investors she's speaking with. And
that could be it too.
You don't want to be on
their bad side.
On the bad side of.
Oh my God! So what is it with gatekeeping, right? there are some places or settings that you can't do without clicks, right? And it's very, very hard for you to speak out in those spaces, right? Because who wants to hold who responsible, right? Eventually, it might be the scapegoat.
Yes.
So I'm getting that sense.
And considering she is a founder, I mean, if you want to raise money, raising money is mainly about who you know.
Exactly.
Or to a large extent about who you know.
Right.
So and considering let's say the stage at which the ecosystem is, it's not like so mature where you can say, okay, fine.
To hell with all of you.
Yeah, to hell with all of you.
I can take care of myself.
Exactly. It's still at the very nascent stage where you can't just do
Everybody's
that.
connected.
Everybody's connected. I mean, if you defraud one investor, just know that every other person is going to find out.
You're on a blacklist, a black book. Yeah.
It's so small.
They communicate.
Yeah. So, except you're going to look for a way to get your capital from somewhere else or whatever. Yeah, it's going to be. It's probably one of the reasons.
Yeah, I wish I will. Again, it's also possible she had legal advice. I mean, she already had a lawyer, so maybe she just got emotional again because of the interview,
right?
And decided to share. And then she realized, okay, maybe
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. So,
okay.
I mean, that's why we're being careful about jumping on some. There's just too many gaps,
right?
too many unclear.
Yeah,
so that's the issue. It's really unclear. Right. I'm starting to feel bummed out. Let's move on to another story. but what we'll do is, we'll definitely try and follow up on this, and see where it leads us.
All right.
So let's zoom back. This is Kenya. Let's zoom in back into Nigeria. One of the major telcos, MTN, Nigeria,
yep.
right?
King MTN.
There's some big news about them. Is it big news?
Yeah. Is it big news or more of telling news? It's actually telling, right? Over the weekend, they said they are responsible for over 13% of taxes
in Nigeria.
Nigeria's tax
revenue. They revealed that
unprovoked. So FRS actually confirmed it. They were celebrating the biggest companies that are paying tax, right?
Yay!
ICT, yeah. Celebrating some of the biggest companies paying tax. We had likes of Shell among them, and MTN was confirmed as like the biggest tax compliant company, right? And
but they owed at some point.
Yeah, they were owing about $2 billion in taxes.
Yeah, I remember that was last year. But
yes,
they claimed they were not owing. There was some kind of mix up.
Yeah, mix up. So I think that's why they're actually coming out with this now to say, okay, it's not only that we are no longer owing, we're actually the biggest taxpayers. So we looked at numbers that they shared and the numbers FRS shared. FRS did not confirm the exact percentage that MTN paid, but they said they collected 6.4 trillion naira in 2021 in taxes.
Okay.
MTN paid them 618.7 billion naira in taxes. So when you even do the numbers, you're working with around 10%. But even though it's slightly smaller,
that's for one company.
It's still telling that one company is collecting 10%.
What questions does that raise in your
collecting
head?
Or contributing 10%?
Contributing 10% to Nigeria's tax revenue. It's raising a lot of... Okay, so do Nigerians pay tax? Where are the taxes going? How many companies are paying tax?
Yeah. This explains why they seem to always target like big companies.
Big companies, yeah.
Like trying to drain them.
But I stumbled on a report in 2021 by, I think, the cable that says 98% of businesses in the informal sector pay in Nigeria. They actually pay taxes, but here it is. It's not to the states.
Yeah, to the local government. Yeah,
they don't know where it's say non-state actors. That's what they call
Agberus,
them. Exactly. So the
Agberus and the council, all these
local government and all. But there's this. I don't know. Maybe it's a flawed. What's the word? A flawed understanding of the informal sector that they make lesser money.
Oh, they make a lot of money.
Yeah, that is what. So there's like it tends to be more ignored than the focus is not much on them as it is on organized settings, on organized companies, right?
I think it's because it's harder for them to collect taxes from these people.
Most of them
so they need to figure out how to first structure them. Is that the right term?
So a lot of these companies don't even have like proper bookkeeping practices. So I guess if I don't know how much you're making, how do I tax you properly?
Some of them are not even registered.
Exactly.
To start with.
So how do you tax someone who is not in your database and who doesn't have proper records? Whereas an MTN declares profits at the end of the year, so at least I know how much you're making. So it's easier for me to tax you. But even at that, we still have
there's personal
these guys
income
paying,
tax, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that one is charged on personal income.
There's company income
which
tax.
Which is charged on profits.
On profits.
Yeah.
So a company is invariably taxed twice, kind of, because you are paying salary, and your worker will be taxed, and the company is taxed too.
It's on the worker, because the company just says, okay, we're paying this salary, and then we deduct at source the tax. Okay. So in a way, I get what you're saying. They pay it on behalf of the employees. Okay, but it's still part of like the total budget of salary that they have.
Okay.
And then there's company income tax, and there's VAT and withholding tax and many other taxes.
But it still doesn't leave out the fact that Nigerians, we might not have data to confirm it, but Nigerians pay tax.
So we do pay tax.
We do pay tax.
We do. One way or the other, we are paying tax.
So, but are we using the eye test to gauge this, right? Because the number says Nigeria only gets 6% of tax revenue is what is contributed to GDP yearly. But the FRS chairman was saying that, okay, this number does not account for what is being collected at the grassroots level, at the local government, at the state level. So probably a lot of the tax Nigeria is collecting does not get to the federal government.
It's not probably, it doesn't.
Okay.
So it doesn't. It doesn't, because this is like a problem for the Nigeria. I think there's a national tax policy that is still giving the government headache. So all they are falling back on is voluntary tax payment, because there's no how you can structure the informal sector.
Yeah, you can't. So you can't
now.
How?
Maybe you can't do it, but I think
Market Women Association, Abi.
So there's still a way
they
to
take
get
this association seriously.
It may no longer be maybe a percentage of their income or something. It could just be base figure. So now this is like personal experience and all. When I was in school, I can't remember how we got into a conversation with a market woman, and we were like, okay, so our idea at then was that these guys don't pay any tax or anything. So the woman told us that for her to sell every day, she has to pay about 5,000 naira every day for her to sell. And she was complaining
before
that
she even starts selling,
she on most days she doesn't even make as much as 5,000 naira. So that basically she's been overtaxed. So I think we were around when they were coming to take to ask for that tax. That was how we got into that conversation. So that's just one. Now another one is when I was living in Aba. So there's this like a motor park or something like that. It was originally a filling station, but apparently the man wasn't getting so much business, but he still has Connect. So somehow revenue from that park was going to the man.
Wow.
That's revenue that should be going to the government, but it was going to the man. And unofficial reports by the driver said that on a very good day, the man makes at least 200,000 naira from whatever is collected on that place.
A day.
A day.
Wow.
And
100% profit.
So this is just him saying, okay, fine, this is like my property. Use it, and then every day I'm making 200,000 naira. So that's not just the only one. So Ariara International Market is like one of the largest markets in Africa, and the revenue that's collected for people who use the toilet is massive. But it's one person who collects it.
Wow.
Okay.
People know it on the streets. People know who the person is. But it's obvious that it's going to private pockets.
Obviously.
So that's the issue with it. Is either there's tax evasion or there is
remittance issues.
Misappropriation. Yeah.
So the thing is, by the time you want to get it structured and you want to be collecting tax legally, these same people that know the way they have been extorted in a way, right?
Yeah.
They will not want to pay because one, some people somewhere are still going to collect their own share, and two, you are not even seeing what they are using taxpayer money to do. So it will be very, very difficult for you to get them to pay legally. It's these people that use force to collect it from them.
It's actually a serious problem because
It
you find people that pay more than 3 times. 3 times is actually small. Most states have like 7 to 10 agencies collecting different levies from people. I know that I think was it Coca-Cola or 7-Up had to leave Aba for a while, and that place was like they moved to Enugu, and the way their business works, they need water. Enugu doesn't have water.
Doesn't have good
you had to
water.
move to a place that doesn't have water
Start
in order
importing
for
water.
you. And at some point, it turned out that it wasn't a very smart decision for them. But the state lost one of the largest employers of labor. In the end, they didn't come back to Aba. I think they moved to Ghana or something, but they moved out of the region entirely.
Oh my goodness. This is how government chases.
It chases businesses out. And just it's so crazy. But Soludo is actually proposing.
Please let me laugh before you say.
Like a way to collect taxes digitally.
Okay.
So
In Anambra
From the
State.
informal
State.
sector.
Yeah, for the informal
That
sector.
guy has a lot of work cut out for him because before, well, I wish him the best.
Yeah, he's saying a lot of things.
I wish him the best because he's wanting to say those things.
Than that. Well, he's a former banker, so I guess he has an understanding of
Oh my God.
what it takes to do that.
On another note, I think an agency system can be able to
Agency banking,
get it
right?
fulfilled.
For taxes.
Something like this, yes.
It can.
Yeah.
Because
it's tech that can solve this problem.
Basically, what they are doing for the levies is actually agency taxation.
Eh.
Because they have individuals go, like the last time we were at the market. So while we were there, someone just came and dropped a receipt for one of the women, and then he took money from her. So that receipt is proof that she has paid whatever it is that she has to pay. And then these are not like, it's not like they have to go to an office. Someone comes there to meet them. So people are obviously employed to do all of that. So
just for it to be properly accounted for,
So just-
that could work.
Yeah, just instance.
And it can still be digital.
Exactly.
Yeah. I am so Abia State was doing something like that where with USSD, if you pay your 50 naira, I think just 200 naira for your keke every day, they just do like dial a USSD code. So it sends a message to you. I don't know how it works then, but every time I was in a keke and we were stopped at a certain location, that was actually what they did. They would
That's
just use like
interesting.
USSD. Yeah.
Till now?
Yeah, at least until last year when I was
We need
there.
to explore that. Eh?
So
How that works.
well, I don't know. you have to talk to those guys to like find out how they are doing it, because the moment you give them cash and then they like use a USSD code or something like that to alert you. So I think you get a message on your phone to show that okay, you've paid certain amount.
So nobody's dragging your mirror or anything like that. You just show the code.
Yeah. So when you get to the next place, if they ask you tell them your number, and then they do whatever it is they do, and then they say okay,
confirm.
this guy has paid, and then they move on.
And those ones can be easily accounted for.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
And that way you're also generating data that the government can use to make decisions.
Yeah.
It's tech that can solve this problem.
Yeah, I think for you to be able to track drivers that pay their dues regularly, right? You can use that to generate credit reports on these drivers, because most of the time
Financial inclusion, right?
it's salary workers or these lending companies target most of the time. But all these artisans, how do you define if they are credit worthy?
How do you, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
it's interesting stuff.
We need to explore that, how tech can solve this problem. Definitely. Okay, final set of stories for the day. Some startups. As usual, there's always funding news.
Yeah. So we have 2 startups. I'll start with like what I think is the more interesting one, ZeroPay. So ZeroPay is like a POS aggregator. So they have about 15,000 merchants. But first they raised so they raised $11.4 million for their Series A. So it's not just the Nigerian. I'm still struggling to like say who they are. They are not exactly Nigerian. They're not exactly African, because they are founded by a Nigerian and they started out in Finland. But basically, what they do is just what someone like Team Apt does. They provide POS for merchants. But what's interesting about their own solution is is offline, so you don't need the internet to be able to use their POS. So they claim that with their solution.
So how does it connect? Is it NFC? Is it blue? I'm trying to get.
Yeah, it's a mobile app. It's a mobile app, and I think it works with what is this? I think this is internet free tech or something like that. According to them, it's patented, so it's not. It could work without the internet, and they claim that with it they could have as high as a 95% transaction success rate. Which is
because that's a major problem with POS.
Yes,
with POS, even though they connect via GPRS or Edge, which is supposed to be like
widespread.
There's still a lot of failure. So they are trying to solve that problem.
Yeah, so they claim that they have. So they're saying that every other person on the market has like a transaction success rate of 50%, whereas with their solution they have as much as 95%.
This solution has been deployed.
Yes, it has been deployed already.
But I've never seen it anyway.
Yes, so they have only 15,000 merchants. So
in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, yeah. So if you're comparing with guys like OP, I think OP has over 200,000 or so.
Did they explain the technology behind how it is offline?
No, they didn't.
Because they won't be the first to try that. So, for example, if you guys remember Pay Attitude, which I don't know why it did not blow in Nigerian parlance, because it was a very, very novel idea. So they're using NFC. So once you get a Pay Attitude account, you just stick their receptor, whatever, to your phone, and then any cash points where Pay Attitude is allowed, you just accept it. You just touch it, and because it's NFC, it's not. So it stores the data on their NFC device, chip or receiver, and then at the end of the day, they can now upload for settlement and all of that. So they won't be the first, but I'm just trying to understand the technology behind this. You didn't check that out?
They didn't actually explain so much about it. They didn't really explain. Although I guess I can't say, but they've been running for like 3 years and
3 years.
Yes, and they have just 15,000.
I never heard of them. 15,000, no, we need to look into that.
It's very little, but
Europay.
Zeropay, ZIROOPAY. So another thing is they are trying to get into adjacent markets. So they are saying, okay, what can we do beyond payments and deposits? So they are exploring.
This is huge enough to just focus on.
Exactly. Right? If you can solve the problem, why are you getting distracted?
Yeah, don't get distracted.
Just solve this. Okay?
Like, seriously.
So they are trying to look for other services, and what they are starting out with is bookkeeping for these merchants. So
data.
Yeah, so I guess the play here is just the data, because they already have 15,000 people, and I think they've already deployed it. So they're saying that they've moved their users from paper-based accounting to in-app sales accounting. So those guys can now access every single thing, every record that they need on the app.
I'm more interested in their offline POS. That one is just you have to have add-on services, but this POS thing that they're claiming, they've been around for 3 years.
3 years, yes.
Offline POS, 90% success rate?
95%.
95% success rate.
Yeah.
And just 15,000.
So here's the problem. They first raised a 600k seed round, I think around 2012 or so, but it took them, was it 2012 or 2014? But it still took them about 5 years to launch in Nigeria. So why did it take that launch? The idea was you raise this money and we launch in Nigeria. It took them under 5 years to launch in Nigeria.
They have to make it work now. Nigeria has not been so.
So 5 years, to make it work.
5 years to make it work well to launch.
I mean, if it's something that is really groundbreaking, I can understand that. But I just want to understand the technology behind it.
Yeah,
that's what I want to understand.
They'd have to find out.
Would they want to keep it a trade secret or something?
No, I mean, they don't need to review the specifics, but at least tell us how it works. Is it NFC based like Pay Attitude was, and then you connect it to the internet?
Their agents
how to use it.
Their agency network how to use it to start with. So
does it work with all cards? Is it a special payment method like Pay Attitude again? You have to stick the thing to your phone, or because if it's working with cards, then it needs to connect to NIBs. So how is it working offline? So that might explain why they don't have a large number of merchants, a large network, because I don't assume that it works with debit cards. because then you need to connect to Nibs.
Okay, so you say it works.
No, Nibs is different. Sorry, I think I'm mixing it up, right?
No, it's Nibs. Nibs.
I thought Nibs was for transfer. Anyway,
it controls everything.
Everything, yeah. Okay.
So say a mobile platform for small businesses to accept card payments via a mobile app and EMV certified card reader.
EMV certified card reader.
Yeah.
And it is offline.
Yeah, all those card readers that look like calculators.
Those small ones.
Yeah.
That paper used to use. But yeah, there's some are still online based.
Okay.
We need to look into that. I don't want to say things I'm not sure, but I'm really interested in the technology of it and how they're able to guarantee 90% success.
90% actually.
Over 90% success rate. And they've not grown. Anyway.
Become very popular and
yeah.
Well, and that one
they have carried themselves outside.
This is serious.
You cannot hide again.
This is the first one they're probably announcing.
They actually announced the last one. I think 600K.
Oh, I see.
They actually announced it. So the other startup is SmartWage, a South African HR tech startup. I don't know if that's title is correct, but they also raised $2 million in seed.
I want to shout.
$2 million in seed funding. So what they are doing is using WhatsApp to help companies do all of their HR needs. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I don't know if I'm being cynical about it. Anyway, there are places that the frontline employees, people like cashiers, restaurant workers, these guys who they don't have access to emails, or maybe they don't have an email, but when companies employ them, they are still your staff, but you also have like HR needs that you need to satisfy because of them. So without email, how else? So the idea is, okay, fine, these guys use WhatsApp. So it's based in South Africa, and I think South Africans have like a higher mobile penetration than most African countries, and I think they said over 90% of the country uses WhatsApp. So they are like, okay, fine, let's use WhatsApp since that's what everybody uses. So it looks like it's a WhatsApp bot that once you plug in,
you raised $2 million.
That's an interesting model to raise money on, because they are dependent on WhatsApp's API,
I guess. But they also have like adjacent services as well. So they are doing what everybody is doing now, which I think is the most interesting part of the whole story. They're also doing pay on demand pay on demand. So you get your salaries after a certain period, or a portion of your salaries after a certain period. But now the other people who have launched Kadana, AnyPay, and the likes, they have always been focused on like regular employees, formal employees like us. But you see these other guys, your security guy, your mega.
Wow, interesting. That's high risk.
That's who they are focused on right
Contract staff.
Yeah, people like
very,
that.
very high risk.
That is high risk.
How do you guarantee longevity? Because these people are usually not.
Stable in a long time. They can be
they
fired.
can wake up one morning and say they don't want
They
to
probably
do
don't have a contract.
They don't have a contract, so they can be fired.
Exactly. They don't have benefits. Nothing.
Yeah,
they are not covered.
I'm sorry, but the things people raise money for these days, like, is this which country do you say they are based again?
South Africa.
South Africa.
Yes.
We just need to know what was going on in the investors. There's something they would have seen.
So Bento had, I don't know if they've released that feature. So Ebun was talking about it after the whole saga. He was like, he's so sorry that it overshadowed what they had planned. So the idea was also to have something that serves
the
informal sector, because every solution is like focused on the formal sector.
Because that's a safe space.
Yeah, that's a safe space.
Because if you can't hold the employee, you can hold the employer.
Yes. Exactly.
But this one, they don't even have a contract.
Well, okay. Well, that could also mean that employees or employers now have to formalize the way things work.
Why would they?
These people are they don't need a skill to perform those roles, right?
Technically, they need a skill.
What is the skill?
It's
what does it? Okay, let's
No, let's break
what
it.
special skill does a typical security guard have?
Can you do their job?
I just can't stay up late
Anybody
at
can.
night.
Yeah, anybody. I
Exactly.
guess
Don't
that's
need
the
like
thing. Anybody
a
can
major
do it.
skill, so they can quickly dispose of them.
Yes,
no,
but
don't. Let me clarify. There are some people that are actually trained
to do
be
that.
security personnel,
There are
right?
people
There are
that
security
outsource.
firms.
Yes, they are different from these people you're talking about. This is my God. Let's use the right term.
They got right.
Okay, so I guess the thing is, the idea is just, it's not like you get all of your salary. So a lot of people are doing 30%, 33%, so you don't get above that. So if I'm only giving you a portion of your salary, and it's usually after you've worked for a certain period, maybe 2 weeks. So the reason is obvious. In Africa, you don't get your salary until the end of the month. But in some parts of the world, you can get it in 2 weeks or something.
Or daily pay.
Or daily pay.
Wage.
Depends on the kind of
Daily wage.
Yeah. So, and another thing now that is also that we also need to consider is that most of these guys, so some of them get like maybe daily pay or so. Some of them get that, not all, but some of them do. So in that kind of situation, it means that the employer has to ensure that I have structures that are set down that everything works like this, because you know that if this guy takes 33% of his salary after maybe working for 2 weeks
And Sam is behaving, and you can't even fire him.
Yeah, you can.
But okay, I think we should add at this point that we are not saying products should not be built for the informal sector. We are not saying that we are not discriminating people that are informal sector. They deserve good things too. They deserve to be to get loans. They deserve amenities. But we are just saying from the business perspective, like how risky is it for these people? And I want to say that I think this startup will actually focus on the employer more than the employee.
Yes, it's
right.
It's B2B.
So I think it is not like a direct.
Yeah. So I've never seen anybody, even in the formal sector, if you do it directly, what guarantee do you have that the employee will not take the money
still in that
and
company?
resign?
Exactly. Let me tell you, all the company. I don't want to mention names, but let me mention names. For example, Bento, right?
Yeah.
That had that feature for formal employees.
Yeah.
It's kind of has been disabled, sort of.
I'm still getting notification that I can collect my salary before.
Yeah, but it has been converted to like a loan of sorts. That is, with very ridiculous rates. Because they must have found out over the course of months that this thing is not that viable. They probably lost a lot of money.
Because I think
don't forget, they're not taking it from the company's purse.
They're taking it from their purse.
The way they did it, they took it from their purse and they charge you like just a 5%.
And when your salary comes in, they deduct it.
So what if you got sacked in between?
And you did not inform them.
Exactly. So next thing, they now change it and you now found out that the rates were ridiculous and they try and piled on other things on top of it and then
like
just made it.
Pay insurance on the money you have not collected.
So it's going to be more difficult in the informal sector.
Yeah.
And then you have raised $2 million for this. I mean, you figure it out.
They have to.
Yeah, so
you figure it out.
You might have to focus on
we
this.
might not be looking. Maybe the informal sector is probably different in South Africa.
Again,
Maybe
South Africa.
maybe it's not as unstructured and Ulabalu like Nigeria.
I think it is.
It
So
is-
from what I've heard
yeah,
so
I
many
think
South
it is.
Africans say,
Yeah.
I think what they will focus more on is their WhatsApp service.
Okay.
Because everybody keeps on saying that South Africa has like a high mobile phone penetration rate compared to other countries. So most people use most people use WhatsApp. So I guess that's what they will focus on, because while this one will be rolled out in phases to test it, because they need to be sure that this works and that the risks are worth it, because
Good
I don't
luck
know,
to them.
B2C lending is not.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It's
Even
risky
for
to
the
start
formal
with.
sector, it's crazy. So
I now raised money for it.
Exactly. So much pressure.
Yes.
Like you said, Nifemi, we're not trying to bash them, or we're just doing our job asking questions. We're supposed to ask questions. So, I mean, ideally, we should try and feature these people and these startups and get answers to these questions. I'm sure that in raising the money, they actually had questions like this, and they answer them satisfactorily.
That's why they give them the money.
Yeah. So, Because
according to one of the investors, the team at SmartWage are innovators. They are building more than just an end wage access product and have recognized that in order to make a tangible impact on employers, they need to build a powerful way for employers to engage with their workforce. So the way I interpret this is like just a subset of what they plan to build. It's seed funding.
I think it's the WhatsApp thing they sold.
Yes. So this is just like, so if you see what happened with YC, from Africa or from Nigeria, most of the people who got in were fintech. Now even some other people who got in that were not fintech still had like a fintech layer. So someone like Reliance Health is health tech, but it has a fintech layer to their products. So I guess the trick here is to just
have some fintech.
Yeah. Throw some fintech into your product.
Pinch of fintech. And you get the money.
Exactly. So,
because you have money problem.
Of course. I mean, finance is still an issue. So if you
which I don't think we get solved anytime soon.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm not surprised they raised the amount of money because even though with the looming questions we have,
even though
they're white.
Yeah,
they're all white.
Yes.
They're white.
Okay.
And
it explains a lot.
That's racist.
But that's the truth now. And that question I was also asking is, how is employment rates in Africa increasing? Because I'm looking at it from the general, HR tech guys are raising some money, maybe not a lot, but Kazna has raised money for something similar. NEP has raised money for something similar. Now these guys, all this year.
And they're not saying they're helping you to hire now. It's the people that you have that you are catering for.
Yes. My problem is South Africa, for example, has a ridiculously high unemployment rate.
Even Nigeria.
Nigeria too. Ghana too. So who the hell are you serving?
You are serving the people that you have hired. The people that have company, even if they used to be 50 and you fire 30 and it's many 20, you are still catering to them.
But you have so many people, maybe not so many, but you have more people raising money in a sector for a continent that they are not exactly creating so many more.
So it's probably a bubble for now, is what you're saying. Like,
I don't think it's a bubble. I think they are raising money for the future, right? They are saying an age and a day and age where Africa employment rate starts rising rapidly.
The startups actually raise for the future. They build for the future, not raise for the future. Because within a year, these guys will want to raise more money. Within a year or 2 years,
they will run out of money. Because you're going to spend a lot of money to power this.
So and our employment rate will increase.
Because you can't change if government does not solve the unemployment issue. You can't innovate your way out of some of those.
They may not be raising for the future, but since they are building for the future, they are raising to build for the future. So
amen.
If the government has a lot of they have a lot of work to do, right? Yeah. But most of these startups, they are just, if you look at what most of them are doing, you know that there are a lot of things that we can't wait for government to come and do.
Yeah,
honestly.
It's an indictment on government, like the failure of government in Africa. Yes, because some of these things are like
and if problem persists, solutions will keep coming up. I think we should link to one article I did following up Tech Point Build 2020, building for the African market.
Oh yeah.
We have pitch. We have the pitch because we have problem. There will always be the pitch, and yes, we can tell them there's a problem and they can see the problem. So they will always give fund to solve those problems, either future or present. Either there's the problem, but there's always a problem, and that's the African market for you.
Yeah. So as long as there's a problem to be solved, people will keep raising money.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
I'm sure at the time when Shola just tested that feature, I'm sure there would have been a lot of problems we would have seen, like, oh, does it make sense to build something like this in Nigeria? At that time, the payment space was not as developed as it is now.
Yeah.
So building something like that at that time, I'm pretty sure he must have met people who say this doesn't make sense for this kind of market.
Exactly. You're right.
I still do not buy that because it's kind of similar to the people who are building the climate tech space. I kind of think it's just playing to the gallery for me.
I mean,
we don't have.
So, but you can look for a defense for fintech.
A very good recent example was agro crowdfunding. So many of them popped up, raised money then.
Right.
But now it's clear that they could not. They're all gone.
Okay, fine. Look at the Kenyan startups raising money for electric vehicles. It's impressive, right? You're raising money to build electric vehicles that maybe people would have been like, Africans don't do deep tech and all of that. But you realize that you're not solving the problem in your. How does an electric bus solve Lagos transportation issues, for example?
It reduce emission even while it's stuck in traffic.
Emission does not even emission is like if we had 100 problems in Africa, emission won't even make it into the first 70.
Oh my god,
really?
Yes, it's not. I mean, yeah, we have problems in Lagos.
Don't you guys remember the climate? What would I call it? The climate summit that was held in Scotland last year.
Okay.
Where all the big major countries around the world came together, and they all talk about climate change and how they're targeting China and some other people and telling China that you guys need to reduce your emissions. And they said, look at you people. I'm paraphrasing here. The same thing that got you out of poverty is what we are pursuing now. Exactly. Until we are out of poverty,
we are not reducing anything.
This same coal and petrol and everything that you are telling us that we should reduce emissions is what got you out of poverty. Until we get everybody out of poverty, we are not ready to talk about anything climate change or dropping emission. Yeah, that's what China said.
I mean, it's nice if you want to raise money. It's nice if you want to raise money, but really, what does really? I think I've been having these thoughts like, if you're building in Africa, please be solving problems. Don't duplicate solutions that someone else is solving perfectly. Don't build the next Flutterwave. Don't build the next space.
But the more the merrier.
No,
oh my God.
because they will acquire you in 2 years' time, and they will acquire you for peanuts, which might maybe settle you for life. But man, let me not cast your hustle, but if that's what you do, make sure you don't come and tell us you're innovating, because you're not innovating nothing. Because it's something that a lot of people.
Because it's on a roll.
You have like 100 plus fintechs in Nigeria alone.
Okay, we have to stop now. Time is fast spent. We spent almost an hour.
Wow.
Almost an hour on this.
Wow.
Okay, we'd like to hear your thoughts. We really want to hear your thoughts on everything we talked about today. The Flutterwave issue, Flutterwave versus Clara. What do you think? MTN shouldering most of our a huge chunk of our tax revenue in the country, and then these startups we talked about trying to innovate their way out of Africa's problems. We'd like to hear your thoughts. You can email us at podcast@techpoint.africa. You can also tweet at us, or just tweet your thoughts and use the hashtag TechPointAfrica podcast. And if you're listening for the first time, you can get the podcast anywhere you get podcasts.
Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You'll find us there.
Yeah. So if you stayed this long, thank you very much.
In fact.
Yeah, real fun.
Yeah.
but if you did it, we will understand. And yeah. All right. So we'll catch you guys again next time. Catch you on Thursday. Have a very good week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow.